Y'all get in here, get in here, get in here, okay? Stop judging who you are and start embracing who you are. Stop judging who you are and start learning who you are, okay? Let me tell you this, and I want y'all to listen very close, especially if you're someone who puts a lot of energy into judging yourself. You're always second guessing yourself. You always are thinking something's wrong with you. You question, am I good enough? Am I worthy enough? I wish I could be more like them. I wish I could just be a better version of myself. I want you to listen to me real close, okay? I spent so much of my life judging myself. Every little thing I did, I was judging myself. Why can't I be more like this? Why can't I be less like that? Why can't I do? Why can't I wish I were this. I hate that I do this. Every single thing about myself, it seemed like I picked myself apart. Comment below and let me know if you can relate to this. And in fact, click like and click share and tag some people on this so they can see this. I would literally sit up sometimes at night, just laying there in bed, thinking about everything that happened that day that I could have done differently, thinking about life choices from days prior, years prior. I wish I was different. I wish this was different. Why would I do that? I was judging myself. I put so much energy into judging myself. And do you know when I start to find, I'm not even going to say happiness. I think that happiness is overrated. No one's going to be happy every day. But do you know when I start to find peace? I start to find peace within myself once I stopped judging myself and I started learning myself. Rather than judging the parts of me that I, at that time, wish I could change or wish were different or just didn't like about myself, I start learning those parts of myself to say, well, hold on. Why is that part of me here? Where did I even learn to be that way from? Is this something that I can't even change? And if I can't change it, is there any way that I can still have a happy, productive life while still having that part of me? I'll give you an example, right? I'm somebody who I used to say I would bring a U-Haul on the first date, okay? I was one of those people, literally, you look up, I'm like, I want you to meet so-and-so. We met like 2 weeks ago and we're now in a relationship. Yeah, it's wonderful. We're going to be together forever. I was that person, right? And I used to hate that about myself. I was like, oh my gosh, why can't I be any different? Especially when I end up getting my heart broken. Why can't I be any different? Why can't I do different? And I kept on saying, I need to go slower. I need to go slower. I need to stop developing feelings quite as quickly for people. And what I've learned about myself is that that's probably not going to change in terms of how quickly I may like someone or how much I may feel attached to someone. That's just how I am. And it's actually a beautiful thing because you have some people on the opposite end of the spectrum who, frankly, because of life's hurts, are not able to attach or fully embrace anybody. So they're on the other end of the spectrum where they just can't lock anyone. I have the gift of knowing how to love. So rather than judging that part of myself simply because that part of myself hurt me, what I had to do was learn that part of myself and say, if this part of myself exists, then how can I have this part of myself here and embrace it so that they can give me the good from it? But also, how can I have this part of myself here so that I can protect myself from this part of myself? Click like and click share on this. Thank you so much, Arkisha, for sharing this video, and Denise for sharing this video. Thank you so much for sharing this video. And so what I've had to learn about myself, I'm just using it as an example, was one of the things I learned about myself was that although I'm someone who can attach really quickly and that's gotten my heart broken, what it's taught me is that it's best for me to make sure that there are certain criteria that I have in place for people before I attach to them. So I can like them a lot, but having clear criteria. Do they treat me in a certain way? Do they do this? Do they do that? Do they do the other? I didn't try to change myself to say, how can I attach to people less quickly? Because that's just how I am. But I had to learn, what do I need to put in place for myself in order to support myself as I am, so that this part of myself that previously hurt me and put me in some challenging situations, now that part of me no longer can hurt me. Now, if anything else, when I match that part of me with these new tools that I've put in my life from learning myself and embracing myself, now this part of me is a blessing rather than being a burden. That's just one example. For some of you all, learning yourself means accepting that, hey, you deal with things in a certain kind of way. Or you may be, let's say you're someone where you have a temper. I'm going to use that. You say, oh, I hate my temper. I hate my temper. And I hate that I do this and I do that and do the other. Okay. All right. Let's own that. You don't like that part of yourself. All right. Thank you, Sarah, for sharing it with her group. She got 30 people in her group and she shared it with them. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kimberly Dawn, for sharing this video as well. And for those who tell me you're sharing it, thank you. So let's say you don't like your temper and how you deal with things. I'm going to give you this, okay? Maybe it's not a matter of judging your temper, right? Or how you deal with things as, oh my God, I don't like this part of myself. Maybe it's a matter of learning yourself and asking yourself, are there type of circumstances and types of people where I feel more triggered around? That doesn't mean that it's their fault that you lose your temper, but it does mean that you may want to look at the type of people that you're putting yourself in relationship with. Because the fact is, you are who you are. And even if you work on all these other methods of changing and controlling those parts of yourself, at the core, some things are just, they are what they are. They just are what they are. You see where I'm going with that? So with that said, but when I stop judging myself and I start learning and embracing who I am, then that then gives me the tools to say, how do I be who I am in a way that's going to be productive? Do I need to change the kind of people who are around me because there may be certain types of people and certain types of relationships that trigger certain types of behaviors within me, and I don't want to spend the rest of my life fighting hard against my natural reaction to certain things when I can just simply put myself around different types of people who don't trigger me in that way? You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying that everything about us is right and good. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that you are who you are. And the longer you spend judging yourself, thank you so much, Newman Sheena, for sharing this video. The longer you spend judging yourself, the more you put yourself in a position to literally not have the energy to be able to grow into the person you want to be. You can only be your best self if you choose to embrace the fullness of who you are. That's the only way to be your best self. The only way to be your best self and to truly walk in the life that was designed for you, rather even God, universe, however you want to look at it, the only way to truly be able to walk within that kind of life is by you embracing who you were made to be. The parts of you don't like, the parts of you that you don't like, they're here for a reason. You're here for a reason. And maybe if you spend less time judging yourself and you spend more time learning and embracing yourself, then you can figure out why that part of you is there and how that works within the picture of who you were designed to be. We spend so much time judging the parts of ourselves that we seemingly don't like, that we don't give ourselves the time and energy that we need in order to see why that part of us is here and how it could actually be a blessing for us. I remember when I was a kid growing up in school, they would always they'd always say, he's so friendly, but he talks too much. He talks too much. He talks too much. And I judged myself. I felt like I couldn't shut my mouth. I was like, oh my God, I remember being a kid. I was like, why can't I shut up? Why can't I shut up? I talk so much. Whew. I'm glad that I embraced that part of me because God knows I make a living and have built a couple businesses on this mouthpiece here. I'm telling you this right now. Every single time I chose to embrace the parts of myself that I previously didn't like. Every time I chose to embrace the parts of myself that I had been taught by society to judge and dislike, I became more elevated within my life experience. I became more happy. I became more peaceful. I made more money. My businesses grew. My professional life was better. I attracted better people around me because now I embrace who I actually was. Therefore, I could actually choose relationships based on real compatibility. Some of y'all are choosing relationships with people based on saying this person's compatible with you. No, they're not compatible with you. What they're compatible with is the facade that you've made yourself into. Okay? But if you actually embraced who you actually are and your real thoughts and real opinions, some of the people in your life wouldn't be there no more. Because that fake version of yourself is who they're compatible with. But if you actually owned who you were, own the parts of you that even you didn't like and that you've been judging, then you may find that there are actually other people who you're more compatible with, people you actually enjoy and get along with, people who you don't have to worry about having issues with. Some of y'all's biggest relationship challenges is that you're in incompatible relationships because the person who you're in a relationship with, you base that relationship choice based on saying, this is the person that I believe is compatible with the version of me that I want to be rather than the version of me that I actually am. Let me say that again. You're choosing relationships saying that these people are compatible with the version of you that you want to be rather than choosing people who are actually compatible with the version of you that you actually are. Listen, we got one life to live. One life to live as far as I know. And when you're looking back over your life, I'm going to tell you this right now. I believe you're going to find so much more joy, gratification, and happiness in your life and your life choices. If you can look back over your life and know that you spent that life in relationships with people who are actually a fit for who you were, people who actually embrace who you actually are rather than who you fake yourself to be. If you were able to look over your life and say, I actually did things I wanted to do, I actually went into the kind of job that actually is connected to who I want to be rather than connecting to who I think people, to who I want people to believe I am. To know that you actually made choices about how you dress, how you walk, who you chose to love and be in relationship with based on who you actually are rather than based on this fake version of you that is a reflection of what you want people to believe you are. Stop judging yourself and start learning yourself. Stop saying, I don't like this part of myself, and ask, why is this part of myself here? And is there any way that this part of myself can benefit me? Just because these people don't like this part of myself doesn't mean that it's not supposed to be here for a reason. You are who you are for a reason. Even the parts of yourself that were birthed out of the trauma and the pain in your life. Because there are parts of us that came from the pain of our past. There are parts of us that you say, oh, no, I'm not supposed to be this way. I became this way after I went through the trauma of my life, and I'm just trying to get back to who I was. What would you say if I were to tell you that the goal is not to get back to who you were before the trauma? The goal is to embrace who you are now that the trauma has occurred, because whether you like what happened to you or not, and I don't think anybody likes trauma. The reality is that trauma happened in your life. And that trauma and everything that came from it, if you stop judging the changes that happened to you, if you look at it, that trauma can make you a different kind of person. There's so many people who've gone through different levels of pain, and it's made them into more nurturing people. It's made them into people who are less trusting, and in a good way, because sometimes we're too trusting. Now, because of what happened to you, you now are equipped with the tools to protect yourself better in this world. You're equipped with the tools to now listen to your intuition better. You're equipped with the tools to make different kind of choices for yourself. Stop trying to get back to who you used to be and judging the fact that you've changed, and embrace the changes to say, why is it here? Why is it here? What is this teaching me? Who am I supposed to be now? Not who did I want to be, who can I get back to, who do I want to be tomorrow? Who am I supposed to be right now, and how can I embrace that? Stop judging yourself and start embracing yourself, because the you that you are today is the you that you were designed to be. The good, the bad, and the ugly, the scars and the smooth places. This is who you're supposed to be. Start embracing it so that you can finally experience the beauty that you actually are, rather than believing that who you are isn't beautiful. You are beautiful. You are enough. Start embracing it so you can walk within the fullness of who you were designed to be. Click like and click share. Love y'all. Good night.